All right, so it should be recording. So welcome everybody. My name is Brandon Quiles. I'm the program coordinator in our division of student academic success, and I help coordinate our EOF program here at Rutgers-Camden. I will have our colleagues introduce themselves and then go ahead and begin our presentation today.
I'll start. So my name is Randy Ferguson. I am the Assistant Director of the EOF program. I've been with EOF for a very long time. Most of my higher education career has been and I used to actually work, it used to be called Burlington County College. That's when it was called that. That's when I was working there as a counselor. So I'm very excited to welcome you all, not only to the EOF presentation tonight, but also to Rutgers-Camden. Congratulations on your acceptance.
Hi guys, my name is Akeisha Valon-Cortez, and I am the Assistant Director of the Office of Financial Aid that works with the EOF population. I'm excited to be with you guys tonight. I also came to Rutgers as a transfer student. So, you know, as transfer students, we know the ins and outs and the struggle of trying to get it all together. But I'm excited and hopefully we can make this transition a little bit easier for you guys.
Thank you both. So as we begin today, we're going to be sharing quite a lot of information. And if you remember nothing, remember us three, who we are. We have resources here that can really help you with the next pieces of the EOF process. So that's why we always want to start off sharing who we are. So some of you may already be EOF at your institutions that you're transferring from, but we know that some students apply and this is their first time hearing about EOF and our program. So we like to start off just explaining what our program is. So we'll share what the program is and our services that we provide. We will then talk about what some of the compliance requirements are, our expectations for you all as our EOF scholars. And then we will talk about the EOF verification process, which I like to count as like the second step in becoming an EOF scholar. You need to make sure that you successfully complete that verification process before you are brought in as an EOF student into our program. So some other quick introductions. So you already met me and Miss Randy Ferguson, but some of our other EOF family, our EOF team that you all will get to know. First, we have Dr. Marsha B. Song. She is the one who oversees not only the division, but our specific program. So she's right now the interim vice chancellor. So you may see her every once in a while at some of our programming, and just know that she's also a friendly face for you all to get to know and a wealth of knowledge. Then we have what I like to call our lifelines of our program. They are our EOF counselors. We have Miss Caroline Waters, Mr. Terrence Jones, and Miss Sarah Rubright. So I will be your point of contact, me, Miss Ferguson, during these steps of verification and getting you oriented and on board as you transition to Rutgers University. But the moment that you are assigned your EOF counselor after you've been successfully verified will be when we transfer you over and you transfer and start transitioning to interacting with your specific EOF counselor. So EOF program services, what is provided to you as one of our EOF scholars? One of the most important and beneficial is that one-on-one academic coaching and support that you will receive with that assigned counselor. They will work with you to help you not only talk through what options of resources are available to you at campus, but really help you reach whatever those academic and professional goals that you have. We also have our student center workshops that specifically address professional development, academic success, financial literacy, and a multitude of other educational topics like preparing for graduate school that are specific to you all as EOF students. We offer different experiential learning and leadership opportunities to supplement what you're learning in the classroom. We all know, especially you all as transfer students, it's often not enough just to walk away with the degree. How else are you filling out the rest of your resume? Where you graduate, your GPA, that's like the first 2 or 3 lines. What's the rest of that look like? In our program, we offer different opportunities for you to fully flesh out those experiences that can help fulfill and enhance not only what you're learning in the classroom, but really help you as you move on further to whatever that next step is beyond Rutgers, to land that job or that graduate school experience. I always like to say EOF is a family. We have a family-like environment, and that's really our core, because we feel like it takes that environment to make sure that all of our students are not only academically successful, but that they can graduate on time for graduation and graduate achieving the goals that they wish to achieve. And then lastly, our program is there to provide referrals to other campus resources that really meet your needs at the time. Now, what are our expectations of you? I shared how we plan to be of service to you, but we also want to expect some things in return and make sure that you are remaining in compliant with our program. But as an EOF student, we're requiring the following things. One is for you to attend our workshops. So we give a breadth of workshops, a diverse range from, like I had mentioned, professional development, academic preparedness, financial literacy, so many different workshops. And we have some expectations on you attending some of those workshops throughout the semester. We also have an expectation for you to meet with your EOF counselor twice a month. Whether that is in person, virtual, our EOF counselors are very open to how to communicate and engage with you. But the expectation is that you will interact with them and engage with them at least twice a month. And then also that you're meeting with your academic advisor each semester. We want to make sure that you're taking the correct courses and that you're on the right path academically. And that's going to require you connecting with your academic advisor at least once a semester. These 3 things are key. We want to make sure you're doing these 3 things every semester, because the grant funding that we provide our students is contingent on you all meeting these 3 requirements. So now we're going to start step 2. You've applied. Now we're going to talk about the verification process, the second step of you becoming one of our EOF scholars. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to our wonderful financial aid officer, Ms. Lakeisha, and she's going to talk a little bit about verification.
Okay, guys. So like Brandon said, this is the second step in the process now that you've applied. And we're going to talk about a little bit about what this process for verification looks like. So the New Jersey Educational Opportunity Fund, EOF, provides financial assistance and support services, right? Brandon went over a little bit of this, but counseling, tutoring, developmental coursework to students from educationally and economically disadvantaged backgrounds who attend participating institutions. Now, the awards can vary per institution, but grants usually range between $200 annually to $2,650 annually. Here at Rutgers-Camden, our award is usually up to $1,600 is the maximum. Some students may get a little bit less than that, but that's the maximum a student can receive. So who is eligible? Students who have been New Jersey residents for 12 consecutive months prior to the award period, and students who demonstrate historical poverty as defined by the EOF guidelines, as well as you have to adhere to family size and income cutoffs, and you must be enrolled full-time. This will kind of give you an idea of the guidelines that the state sets forth. So these aren't set by Rutgers. This comes from HESA, the state of New Jersey, and they set these guidelines based off of household size, and they determine where the income needs to be and where the asset cap needs to be. And so when you go through the verification process, that's kind of what we're determining, that based off of the income for that specific tax year, for example, 2019, that you fall within these guidelines to determine eligibility. So there is some documentation that's going to be required. And what will happen is you'll actually get an email from us, from the financial aid office, letting you know that there's certain documents that you need to submit to the office in order to determine your eligibility, right? So all we're doing is trying to make sure that you meet the income guidelines from the slide before. Some of these documents that we may request will consist of an asset form. Some students may be required to submit 2 years. So let's say you're coming in as a transfer with no EOF history, you will probably be required to verify 2 years of income, so 2018 and 2019. If you're transferring in and you received EOF before, you will only need to verify income for 2019. Another form that may be required will be a household verification form. So this form basically is just us knowing who's in the house. So you, parent, you, a child, you, parent, siblings. That's a few examples of that. If you listed on your FAFSA that you received Social Security benefits, SSI, SNAP, TANF, anything like that, you may be required to submit information providing proof that you did receive those types of benefits. And then lastly, most students will have to submit tax return transcripts. Again, that can vary. So it'll either be for one tax year for 2019, or it could be for 2 tax years, 2018 and 2019. It's very important that you just don't start submitting documents. You want to wait till you receive the email from our office, letting you know what items you need to submit. And then at that time, submit the items. What happens sometimes is students will start submitting stuff. And if you submit stuff that we're not asking for, I can't unsee it. So if I see it, I have to take it. And we don't want you to lose eligibility or mess up any of your eligibility. Okay, so the tax return transcript. So this is a little bit different than when you file your taxes and your accountant, or if you do them yourself on TurboTax or something like that, that you get a copy of your 1040. That's your federal return. But the IRS tax return transcript comes directly from the IRS. It can only be obtained from the IRS. So this will kind of give you a breakdown on how you can retrieve those. So either by telephone, online through irs.gov, by mail by completing the 4506T. Randy and Brandon are very good at sending you guys links and tutorials of how to walk through these steps to get these. I know it can seem like a lot, but if you follow the videos and their step-by-step guidelines, you should have no problems requesting these. Just keep in mind that if you do have to request it by mail or fax, if you can't retrieve it online, it's going to take a little bit longer to get it, but that's okay. We'll work with you through that. So kind of just be patient. Just with pandemic and everything getting back to normal, the IRS, they're a little delayed in some things. Okay, so managing your required documents online. So if you go online to the financial aid website, which is scarletthub.rutgers.edu, this will kind of give you in these boxes, if you're actually on the website, you can click on them and it'll take you to a login page where you would enter in your NIT ID and RUID. This will allow you to access what documents you're missing. This will allow you to access your award letter, things like that. So it's important that you check this periodically. You want to check your emails regularly because you'll get email from the Office of Financial Aid. You're definitely going to get emails from Brandon and Ms. Ferguson, and you're also probably going to get emails from me directly or one of our other associates, Michael Lee. Okay, and it's just to kind of help you and walk you through the steps of trying to get the documents in as soon as possible. So we're going to talk a little bit about HESA and kind of the steps and what all that consists of. So the New Jersey Higher Education Student Assistance Authority is the agency that students will need to supply additional information to if they are looking to be considered eligible or state grants, scholarships. So that can consist of TAG, New Jersey Stars, EOF. In your case, it would be EOF, okay? So it's important that you monitor your NJFAMS account, and that's what the system for the state is called. Basically, if you haven't done this already, you would want to go online and create an account with HISA, create an NJFAMS account. If you have one already, then you would just log in and make sure that your to-do list is clear, that you're not missing anything, that they don't need additional stuff from items from you. You have to remember that what you submit to us, we're not sharing with the state. So the state may need some additional items. So it's important that you check both places, because let's say we clear you and say, okay, you're eligible for EOF, but then HISA says, oh, well, you're missing these documents. They have that final say to say, you know, yes or no, right? Because they're the ones that are providing the funding. So you want to make sure that you complete all steps on both sides, not just with Rutgers, but whatever HISA needs as well. Okay, so some important deadline dates. So Brandon and Ms. Ferguson will be touching base with you guys, letting you know the last day that you guys need to let them know that you want to be considered with the program. We're anticipating Friday, June 25th being that date, and they'll make you aware. So you just want to make sure that if you don't want to be considered, that you let them know by that date. Now, shortly after that, usually the week after that, Ms. Ferguson will send me a list of the students that want to move forward with the process. And so I will then open you guys up for verification. And then shortly after that, that's when you'll get your missing document email letting you know what items you're missing. So even though it says there Tuesday, August 24th is the last day to submit documents, you don't want to wait till Tuesday, August 24th. Okay, just because some of these things take a while for you to receive, especially if you have to get letters from the state or you have to get proof of your Social Security benefits, things like that. So, and we want to work with you through that process. So don't wait till August 24th, okay? The same goes with your forms. Sometimes you may submit forms and we may see that, okay, this is incorrect, and we'll have to kind of go back and say, we need you to fix this. So the sooner you work through the process, you know, the better it is. And you give us more opportunity to be able to help you through the process. The other thing to think about is that once you are open for federal verification for EOF, that even if, let's say, August 23rd comes and you decide you no longer want to be considered, you want to be removed from consideration, you still have to submit any documents that we've opened for verification that will prevent you receiving your financial aid for the fall semester and that money being applied to your bill. So it's very important that even if you go through the process or you stop the process midway, the documents still have to be submitted. So this is all of our information. I'm going to turn it back over to Brandon.
Thank you so much, Lakeisha.
You're welcome.
So she did a wonderful job kind of explaining the process, and I know it was a lot of information there, but again, like I mentioned in the beginning, we're going to open it up for some questions right now, but I want to make sure that you have all of our contact information. Take a picture of this. My phone number is right there. I actually recommend, if you aren't on your phone right now, take it out, type that number in. I will probably be your direct contact when it comes to getting these forms signed for the summer and getting these forms updated and requesting them from the government. I'm going to be reaching out to you. So have my number, phone call, FaceTime, Zoom, text, email, whatever is most comfortable for you to communicate with me. Let's just make sure we stay in contact, because we don't want to wait to the last minute to get these forms in. We're working with some of our freshmen who are joining us now, and some of these forms are taking a while to get in. So as soon as you get that email from me, from financial aid, let's start early, put these requests in, get these documents in, so you do not have to worry or stress out about it once we get to that deadline in August. I'd much rather you do it early and then have a load off than having to try to call and track down documents last minute from the government. I'm going to stop sharing. That is our last slide. And I want to make sure, I haven't looked in the chat. I don't know if anyone's been asking questions in the
Yeah,
chat, but I'll give a peek right now.
I did see there was a couple of questions, so that I think will be good for everyone. So one question, and I did respond in the chat, but just to make sure. So one question was that if by applying, you know, when you filled out the EOF application, you gave us your information, if you would have been requested any of these financial documents that we're referencing. Not yet. So the reason we do this initial presentation for you all is so you can get if you've never had EOF before, you have a better idea of what EOF is and what the program entails, or even if you've had EOF at your community college, while we're all very similar, each campus kind of runs things a little bit differently, so you kind of know what EOF is at Rutgers-Camden. The other part of it is we want to be upfront with you and honest about what verification is, and that it can be very arduous and lengthy. And so we want to make sure that you're committed to that process, because as Ms. Cortez says, is when she opens you up, she opens you up. So you're going to have to finish the process. And so we want to make sure that this is something you want to commit to. And if you do, we're absolutely committed to helping you through the process. So we will do everything that we can to support you, to help make the process as easy as possible. And so we want you to have a time to see this presentation and then think about it. And then if you decide that you no longer want to move forward with the program, just let myself or Brandon know before next Friday, and then we won't put you on the list. But after next Friday, that following Monday, the 28th, I'll send Ms. Lakeisha the list, and then she will start that process, and you'll see sometime later in that week, probably a notification from financial aid. So that was one. The other question, and maybe Lakeisha, you can best answer this, and I think I know the answer, but I think on the slide where it talked about the tax transcripts, it referenced putting the RUID number in the customer file. So I know when you request the tax transcript online, you don't need a customer ID number. But are you recommending they put in their Rutgers number so that that way you guys can better identify them?
Yeah, because the customer number, I think, is asking it's the number the IRS is asking for. So you can put you don't need that when you're requesting it. But if you want to put your RUID number, you can, but you don't have to put it.
But to be sure, make sure when you hand in documents that you do have an RUID number on all of your documents, because you don't want it to get lost or mixed up or anything.
I do want to make just some additional comments. I know we're not there yet, but I want to make sure I get it on this recording for those who aren't here, and it never hurts to say it more than once. So when we go through this verification process and we're requesting forms or completing forms, please keep copies of all of these documents. So if you have a printer at home or like a copier at home, scan or make a copy for your own record. If not, bare minimum, if you have a phone, take a picture, make sure it's a clear photo, but like a picture of those documents. If you have to mail anything into the government.
Could it be saved as a PDF?
Yes, you can save it as a PDF, but just so you have your own record of it, that it was filled like and dated when you sent it. If you're putting anything through the mail, taking it to the post office or FedEx and asking them to give you a receipt that it was sent. I just want to make sure that you all are keeping proof and documentation that you are actively trying to retrieve these documents. If for some reason things get lost in the mail, the IRS is taking forever, I want to make sure that we have that documentation to be able to give to financial aid or to the state to say, hey, I'm still interested in EOF being verified. I'm just waiting on these documents. So again, keep receipts, keep copies. It's important. And that's, of course, for anything you really do during your college experience, have your receipts, have your copies. But really with this, it will be important. So would we be mailing these to Rutgers or sending through email? So There are two different ways that students have typically been submitting this documentation. So there is like a financial aid portal that you all will have access to, and you're able to see what documentation you need within that portal. And you can always submit those documents through there. Or I've had some students, they email it to me, and I can take those documents, and I always make sure that I forward them to financial aid, and I try to copy everyone in the world, copy it on those emails with those attachments. And typically when I do that, another thing that I want to share, it's just for you all to know, you might fill out a document quick and you're waiting on another one. You do not have to wait till you have all your documentation available to submit it all at once. If you complete a form or you get a document and you're done, go ahead and submit that once you have it. So do not feel like you need to wait on all of the documents. Sometimes when you complete a document, it might generate the need for more documents. So I don't want you to wait till the very end to submit all your documentation at once. If you fill out a form and you're like, okay, I think this is done, go ahead and you can submit it through that portal. Or if you want to email it to me, I will make sure it gets to financial aid, and I will always copy you on those emails, just so that they can start verifying those documents. And if there are any questions, any discrepancies, or anything that might require more information from you, that process can start beginning while you're still waiting for those other documents to come in. Really good question, Leah.
I just wanted to add something. Keep in mind that not everyone, right, files a tax return every year. So if you didn't file a tax return for 2019 or 2018, you still have to request an IRS non-filer letter. And usually, sometimes you can request it online and sometimes you can't. If you can't, you want to download that 45 OT IRS form, and you would mail it directly to the IRS or fax it. And then they would send you proof that there's no record of you filing a tax return for that tax year. So that's something important too. So in your missing information letter, you may get something that says, need verification on filing. That's what it's referencing. And it's just going based off of how you answered that question on the FAFSA. So the FAFSA asks you, did you file a tax return or a 1040? And if you put no or not going to file, that's why it'll prompt you for that. So it's important. And like Brandon was saying, when you mail that form out to the IRS, make sure you keep a copy of that form. If you go to the post office and mail it, keep a copy of your receipt, okay? Because let's say the IRS never sends it to you. There's other ways we can work around that, but we have to have proof that you took the steps to try to get the document from the IRS.
I just want to add, not necessarily about verification, but that the rainbow on the other side of verification. I know that this can be a very tough process for many students. If you've never had EOF before, this is definitely tough because you've never had to do anything probably to this extent with financial documents. But we are, as somebody who's coming into the institution, even though you've been in college before, so college isn't necessarily new to you, but Rutgers is going to be new to you, right? Rutgers is small, Rutgers-Camden is a small community, which is great, but EOF is even a smaller community within that community. And I can't emphasize enough how much of a support system we provide students, and just that kind of community atmosphere we try to build. And you'll hear that word a lot, and I'm saying it a lot on purpose because the thing that we want most for our students is to feel a part of Rutgers-Camden and to feel part of the program. And that's not only through the support services that like myself or our staff or Brandon provides, but also the support you'll provide each other. So the programming that we'll do in the fall, we'll have very specific programs for transfer students, so that very specific to your needs, right? So the things that you're experiencing as you're coming into a four-year institution, where the expectations may be different. And as someone who worked at a 2-year institution and worked at a 4-year, I know the differences, and I know that it's very tough. So we really try to help that transition, and then also help you meet other people that you can rely on for support. We know that typically students who are transfer students have a lot of other responsibilities on their plate. Your student is not your only role. A lot of people are parents, they're caretakers, they're siblings, they're partners, they're working full time, they might be involved in other things. And so we really want you to feel like EOF is going to help connect you to the campus as well. And to also support you as you kind of get through and enjoy your Rutgers experience and get to where you want to go after it's all over and you get that degree. So I know it can be really tough, but I can't emphasize enough how great the support is on the other side and how much it'll help you over the next few years as you finish up your degree and move on to the next step in your life.
Yeah, just to reiterate that, I always say the grant is great, but the grant isn't the make or break, because it's not that much money. So I always say the grant is great, but really the benefit is, and once you get on campus, I'm fully committed to champion, like y'all my people, my transfer students, you're all the ones that I'm trying to champion, and I will be connecting with you all and supporting you all through this. Connecting with some of our current students, they will tell you that it's the community, the counselors, helping them navigate the system, getting that support with these programs is really the benefit of being one of our EOF scholars. I also want to touch upon a question that was sent to me privately, specifically around the grant. So you will not see this grant on your financial aid award letter just yet. So once you get verified, I believe typically, Randy, Lakeisha, please correct me if I'm wrong. By the time they start classes, they should be receiving a new award letter. And in that award letter, they'll see that grant from EOF added there, but you're not going to see that right away. It'll have to be after you're verified. And since the verification date is near the end of August, it's probably going to be within that August, September, early September period that you're going to see that grant added to your award letter. If I'm incorrect, please correct me, Randy, Lakeisha, but I think it's my first time doing my fall cycle, so I want to make sure I get my dates correct. Don't want to be giving my people wrong information now.
No, you're right, Brandon. That is correct. So what usually happens after I confirm that you are eligible, I will I'll let Miss Randy know, and she'll go out there and you know, she'll keep record of that. Once she confirms with me that she's certified you with the state and you're good to go, then you will see that award show up on your financial aid award letter. So with that email will look like, it'll say, please log in, you have a revised award letter. That's kind of the verbiage it'll have on it, right? Because you'll probably already have your initial award letter, and this will just be a revision. And then when your award goes on at first, it would go on as an estimated award. So don't get scared about that. It's just because the state doesn't certify their roster till later on. And then later on, what'll happen is the system will convert that to an official award.
Any other questions about the verification process? So you all will have to, again, go through this process successfully so that you can be a part of the EOF program. I do want to share 2 dates with you all now. It'll be shared via email, but just to have on your back burner, put a tentatively saved. These dates are going to be the transfer orientation for our EOF students. So the first date that I want you all to mark down, I'm going to be doing a virtual session and an in-person session for our transfer students. So August 26th is going to be in the evening at some point. Really want to make sure that's accessible to those who work full time. I'm gonna hold a virtual session then. I'll let you know timing as we go through this process and continue on with the summer, but that will be a virtual session, and it'll be an orientation where you will again kind of be reintroduced to the programs. By then we'll have a schedule of program workshops for you to have, so you can plan your semester accordingly, and it'll be an opportunity for you to meet your EOF advisor. The in-person transfer student session is going to be tentatively Tuesday, August 31st is the day that we're looking for. So if you want to mark that down, have that saved, that will be in person. That is also the university's Raptor welcome. So it's the broader university's kind of welcome to the university. So there will be a lot of happening on campus that day, along with our specific orientation for our program. So if you really want the full experience of being able to navigate the entire campus, that's really the first, that week is that first week that they're really opening back up for all of the students to take a campus tour, interact with the campus resources, interact with new students. So I just wanted to have those 2 dates on your calendar. You all know what your lives and responsibilities are and which one might best cater to your specific needs, but just so you have that on the docket now. So again, we shared our information with you all. We will make sure that this recording makes its way into all of your emails. I know I've been emailing some students on the Rutgers email. Make sure that you're checking that. That's the email that we're going to really be communicating with moving forward. And we want you to be getting accustomed to checking that regularly. But if you don't have any other questions, we thank you all for attending this session. And ideally, your willingness to continue on and engage with us with this verification process.
Have a great night, everyone. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Have a good night, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Be safe. Looking forward to getting to meet you all even more throughout this process.